How's it going, guys? Welcome to the House of Fata Morgana, and yeah, I goofed again. I think I'm just tired, but I failed to record my face cam. It happens occasionally. I don't know, just slipped my mind. I had it set up and everything, but I didn't hit play for some reason, because, you know, when you do something so often and everything becomes muscle memory and you stop putting that thought into it, it gets easy to overlook the little things every once in a while, so I'm sorry. However, this actually is not a bad audio episode. I didn't go on a ton of rants this time. I focused a lot on the narrative, so I hope you enjoy it still. Yeah, there's a good lot. It's soul crushing, this one. I feel myself being dragged down, but it's a good episode, and we're really kind of getting to the core of who Michel is and how he got where he was. And a lot of pieces clicked into place here. I even was able to make a few predictions. So a lot of the puzzle is finally opening up, and like the final pieces are lining up now. So that makes me feel like we might finally be getting to the end, because I think I'm running out of questions at this point. But we've got a ways to go still. So I hope you enjoy. And until the next video, I guess you'll see me in there, because you won't see me in this one. But I hope you enjoy anyway. How's it going, guys? Welcome to TheBlueShifting. And welcome. Welcome to hell. Fetch. I mean, this is Michel's past, and how horrifying it is. After the transformation, the true activation of his genetics, which manifest in him effectively changing gender, or the reflective gender of his exterior, to finally match what was going on in his mind, he's been exiled to his room. He has, in a fit of rage, just terrified the staff, and that has allowed Aimee to come in and to assert power over him, and has decided to treat him like less than dirt, less than a slave, as a plaything that she purposely starved into near like death so that she could never be overpowered. And here we are. Tail end of a happy memory of his brothers, and no hope, no indication that anything's gonna get better. So yeah, this is just lovely. But we will push forward and hopefully find some measure of peace and hope. We know that this doesn't end super well, but he does escape, and I wonder if we're about to see that escape sometime in the near future. Deiter, Georges, was Aimee telling the truth? Do you really think I'm nothing but trouble? Do you think I've lost my mind? That I'm a demon child? Deiter, Georges, why do you not open this door for me and let me out? Were the things I said that day really so heinous? Do you resent me too, like Aimee? Deiter, Georges, how do you think about me now? Is this body really so unusual? If I hadn't undergone the transformation I did, would the things still have been in the way that they were before? Would we be able to go out of that forest again and make silly, meaningless conversation, everyone laughing like we had then? If this body hadn't changed the way it did, would I not be trapped in this darkness? Even if it were the case, I didn't want to be a girl. If God descended from heaven and offered me to change me back, I would have turned him down. Because inside, I wasn't a girl. And my nightmare of Aimee's hands didn't end there either. As much as I loathed to admit it, I was terrified of her. Every day I dreaded the sound of the door opening. However, if I were to block the door off with furniture, I would lose my only remaining lifeline. I had no choice in the matter. It's time for supper, Michel. I brought your favorite, parsnips. Well, what the dogs don't eat of them anyway. Oh, that's right. Parsnips. Wouldn't parsnips be donated and he wouldn't eat them, but they would be sent to him in the crates and supplies that he received? Oh, no wonder he didn't want them.
But you don't mind, do you? I'm going to cut your nails today, Michel. I need you to stay very still. You wouldn't want my hands to slip. So make sure you do. I'm tying you up. This way you can't accidentally move. Here's your water, Michel. It's murky. Oh, heavens me. I must have fetched it from the wash basin by mistake. It's supper time, Michel. I brought your parsnips again. Don't worry, the dogs didn't have any of these. They didn't seem to be interested in eating them raw. What, you don't want any? Then what am I going to do with these? You know, Michel, you're such a disgrace. Cry for me, won't you? Beg for mercy? Look at you, all the pride. Gone out the window. It's hilarious, I tell you.
Evil. Evil! She did everything imaginable to torture me, both physically and emotionally. To be honest, it was rather impressive, in a sick way, how she was able to come up with so many different ways to torment me. And she knew precisely what caused me the most pain. My body, the discrepancy between what I was and what I felt I was. She delighted in telling me I wasn't male, and sometimes in showing me, but I didn't think I needed to describe the things she did to me in any more detail. I could think of only one way to keep myself from breaking down. I completely stopped talking, stopped struggling. Then one day, after about 6 months or so, she said with a disinterested sigh, "I'm done." And that was the last of it. By swallowing my pride and not resisting, I was able to escape from her grip. Once she was gone, the servants took over, attending to me again. I was still imprisoned, but now there was a serenity in my solitude. I didn't speak with anyone. I didn't make eye contact. I didn't do anything. Interesting. So he effectively employed the exact same tactic that Giselle did eventually. The building the cocoon of self and just holding to it and just letting events pass you by. In that regard, their experiences are so paralleled. It's so interesting. And they were destroyed by the same family, effectively. I just lived. But even though I had peace, I feared Aimee having a change of heart. I trembled at the possibility that one day it might be her that opened the door. But above all, I despised the fact that I lived in such fear of a girl. An overwhelming self-loathing threatened to crush me. I had recurring nightmares about the things Aimee had done to me. The wounds she gave me did not heal. They only grew worse, eating away at me day after day. I was beginning to lose confidence in my own sanity in the silent darkness where there was no sense of time. The line between dream and reality blurred. I often found myself screaming, crying into the empty air. I crawled into my skin, pulled out my hair, paced back and forth across the room, pounding at the door, yelling for help. Screamed some more. It was the very image of pitiful, absolute wretchedness. And every time I did, I'm sure there was someone on the other side of that door whispering about how poor Michel had lost her mind. Eventually, I gave up entirely. Fetch. So what happened? How did he get out? It was a stormy night on my 16th year. I'd been confined for more than 2 years at that point. Heavy rain pounded against the windows like thousands of little spears. I was sitting quietly on my bed, unable to fall asleep, when suddenly there was a loud banging on the door. Oh boy. Michel. Michel, are you awake? If you aren't, then hurry and get awake. No, if you aren't, then hurry and get awake. We've got a big trouble. Lower your darn voice. But... When I first heard my brother's voice after so long, I thought it was hallucinating. In 2 years, they'd never once come to me, no matter how hard I pounded on the door, no matter how many times I called for them. And after all that time, I didn't expect that to ever change. I'd given up, assumed they'd long since cast me aside. Unable to bring myself to say anything, I simply stared at the door, when there was another bam bam. The sound was half consumed by a crack of thunder, giving it an incredibly eerie quality. Please, say something, Michel. Seriously, there's no time. You can hear us in there, can't you? You're there behind the door, aren't you? Come on, just one word, Michel. Is it really you, Deiter? Georges? For a moment, they seemed to be at a loss for words. Probably because they'd almost didn't recognize my voice. But it was only a heartbeat, and then Deiter spoke. There is a carriage waiting outside. I'm going to unlock the door so you could leave it. Why? Because Dad's talking crazy! He's saying the Bollinger family's no need for a demon child and that you're a mark of shame in our name. So he's going to have you executed. Georges! Father wants me dead. Felt like the floor had fallen from under me. Executed? Demon child? Mark of shame? So he was saying I didn't even deserve to live anymore? It's planned out for tomorrow morning. We've only just found out ourselves, which is why you prepared a way for me to escape. But why? Why? Do you even need to ask? Because we're family. Something terrible has gotten into Father. I clenched my teeth, fighting back the bitter, angry sigh. But I couldn't keep all those emotions bottled up for long. A maelstrom of feeling I thought I had lost him to 2 years of imprisonment swirled up inside me, spilling from my lips. Why? Why are you doing this now? If you really felt that way, then why didn't you come sooner? 2 years I spent locked in this room. Do you have any idea how I felt in that time? Any idea how hard I had to fight to endure? How many times I cried for your help? How hard I pounded the door begging to be set free? But never once did you come. Not even once. Michel, I scare you, don't I? You think I've gone insane, that I've lost my mind? That I sold my soul to the devil, don't you? No, Michel, we don't... Then why? Then why didn't you come to set me free? Michel, we don't think you've lost your mind at all. So you don't want to see me then? You didn't want to face what I'd become? Tell me I'm wrong, Deiter, Georges. You left me here, abandoned me for 2 whole years, locked me away so you didn't have to see me. I'm sorry. I'm really busy with my art. I've been getting a ton of commissions down at the court, and Deiter's a knight now, so he's up to his neck in expeditions. I'm really sorry. As am I. I cannot say that you are wrong. After what happened, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to act around you. I'm still not sure, even now. I knew I had to find the time to collect myself, but I kept putting it off, vainly hoping the time would take care of it all. And for that, I owe you an apology. But you need to understand, I do not agree with Father's decision. I do not want to lose you. I don't think you're a demon child. And Georges feels the same. Neither of us wants to see you dead. What he said, Michel? There's not much time. We need to get you out of here. I bit down hard on my lower lip, hard enough to draw blood. It was that, or start sobbing. It's a little late for that. Michel. If you don't want to get out of here, you're going to be killed. If I'm not an angel sent from heaven or a demon child, then what am I? What on earth am I? What are you? You're a Bollinger. You're our family. And that is all there is to it. I pray that you can forgive me for averting my eyes for so long. Can I trust you? Can I trust that even if the whole world says I'm cursed, that you'll always be on my side? That you'll always be my brothers? Can I put my trust in you once more, Deiter, Georges? You absolutely can, Michel. I swear to God on high. And I swear to the God of art. Michel, I have no other choice, do I? I couldn't talk the father out of it, could I? I would rather you didn't try. He is not a man to change his mind. If you were to show up before him, he would likely draw his sword on you himself. I would destroy Mother. I'm sorry. We're doing this only for you. Okay, I'll go. Oh, thank goodness. The carriage will take you to a mansion, Michel. It's a property Father purchased some time ago. But due to rumors about the house, it's abandoned. No one wants to buy it from him either, and that's unlikely to change. It's the ideal place to keep you out of sight. What kinds of rumors? Well, no point in keeping it a secret. He has a right to know. They say a witch lives there. A witch? I think it's all just a made-up, personally. I went to check the place out, and there was no one there. It was a little dreary, to be sure. I had hoped for a better place to arrange for you, but there wasn't enough time. This is only temporary, Michel. I cannot say how long it will be, but Father will pass away eventually. When he does, Georges will inherit the estate, and that will mean you can return. So I ask that you hold out until that time. If I don't leave, I'm going to be executed. So send me anywhere, I won't complain. I'm glad to hear you say that. I will talk to Father and ensure he does not suspect anything. We'll make this work. Don't you worry. The long and short of it is, Dad simply wants you erased from the family. Georges! Sorry. I wasn't trying to be mean. But anywho, once I take over, we're in the clear. You'll be acknowledged as a Bollinger. I see. Okay then. Can I open the door now? Just a minute. Huh? You're still not ready? I don't have any clothing. Ah, right. You wouldn't, huh? How tall are you now, Michel? Around the same height as you, I think. You're taller than me? Dang it! Alright, I'll bring you some of my clothes. Thank you. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard you say thank you without putting up a fight, Michel. That's not true, I don't think. I'll be back soon. Get what you need together. Alright. Oh, thank goodness, I'm so glad. Sitting in the carriage, waiting outside, listening to the pitter-patter of the rain, I gazed out at my two brothers. I hadn't seen them in 2 years, but they hardly looked any different than how I remembered them. I was the only one who had changed, and dramatically at that. Looking at them, I couldn't help but remember the old days. Playing chess with Deiter, learning to draw from Georges, our sibling outings. However, the ominous sound of thunder crashing in the distance drowned out those memories. The mansion is several days' travel from here. Hopefully the carriage isn't too uncomfortable. I will send a package with any supplies you need once a month. Food, clothing, and something to pass the time. If there's anything you want, Michel, just tell me. Now, or you can have a servant pass a message on to me. I can't think of... Actually, wait. I can think of one thing. I would like a chess set. Alright, I'll have one made. I would rather have yours, Deiter. Would that be possible? Are you sure you want that beaten old thing? Yes, I want that one. Alright, then I'll include it in the first delivery. I'll send you something too, Michel. Anything you want, just tell me. The painting. In that case, I would like some art tools. I'm nowhere near as much of an artist as you are, but Georges, and I don't have anything. But they don't have to be anything special. Gotcha. Some canvas and how about some charcoal? And when you're back, I want to see what you've made with it. Okay? Okay. I know this is already hard enough on you, Michel, but I need to ask you to do something for me. Avoid making contact with anyone who doesn't already know about you. So, I can't talk to anybody but the servants. Put simply, yes. Tomorrow the world will consider you dead. So we cannot have people finding out you are actually alive. Especially Father. Please do this for me. I've been doing that for 2 years already. I've long since lost interest in interacting with anybody. So you don't need to ask me to keep to myself. Right. Does anyone else know I'm alive? Yes, Mother knows. In fact, this was her idea. It was. She loves you, Michel. She really does. Mom just, is having a difficult trouble facing the truth. So even though she's not here to see you off, I guarantee you she doesn't want to see you dead. She wants to have you in her life again. Oh man, but that backfired. I expect Mother will be writing to you, so please take the time to write her back. She's a troubled woman, but her love for you is true and unwavering. Will you do that? Just a quick little, hey, got your letter, doing great, will suffice. Alright. Just so you know, it kills me that it kills me and Dee that we can't stand up to Dad. But as long as he lives, his word is God in this house. I understand that, yes. Well, you never know. He could be gone quicker than you expect. Weeks from now, and bam, he's dead in Dee's social life. He's dead as Dee's social life. Is there not an ounce of respect in your body? Oh, give me a break. I'm upset. He's gone way too far. And once he's dragged his arse over the great beyond, anything goes. Surprise! Michel was alive. Yeah, I suppose. Until then, we'll take care of things here. Tomorrow's gonna be the performance of our lives. Crying like a couple big old babies and laughing our tails off inside. You'll forgive me if I have trouble trusting that loose tongue of yours. Psh, I'm not stupid. I know this is important. Not even Aimee will suspect a thing. Aimee. Yeah, not even she can know. It's gonna crush her, I'm sure, but the less people who know, the better. When Georges said her name, my whole body went shamefully cold. It had been 1.5 years since the hell she'd put me through, but every last detail of it remained carved into my mind and body. There was no way she would be slightly sad about my death. She might act it, but she would almost certainly be elated by the news. It seemed Georges had yet to see what lay beneath that woman's mask. I knew you two were close. Huh? Are you worried about how this might affect her? What? She cared for you about 6 months, didn't she? When you wouldn't let the servants in. What? From what I heard, you got real close to dying in there. You wouldn't even eat unless she was there. Who the hell told you that? What? Is that not what happened? Something happened between you two, Michel. Aimee didn't do it, damn. Never mind. I can't tell them. I can't put what I went through into words. It will only worsen my shame. I don't know if they would have believed him in the end. Wish they would have. Especially not in front of my brothers. Georges, how are things between you and Aimee? You still letting what happened 2 years ago get to you? Well, I mean, at the time, things were a total disaster. I'm all excited about getting myself a pretty little wife, only to find out she's rocking the boat with someone else. I cried for weeks. Oh, yeah. So I'm sorry. Deep down, though, she ain't actually a bad girl. She's young, and kids make mistakes. Oh, Georges. Oh, Georges. After it all came out, she turned over a new leaf. She started doting on me something serious, and well, it's hard not to let one little mistake go when she's trying so hard to make up with me. The age excuse doesn't work for Dee, though. For about a year, things were really rough between us. I didn't even want to look at him. But at the end of the day, we're family. We can get past anything. Besides, because you let the cat out of the bag, that gave me something to hold over Dee.
All things considered, I'm not complaining.
So, you would say that you're happy, then, Georges?
Sure would, yep. Believe it or not, I'm kinda head over heels for her. I did not like a girl like Aimee.
Oh, I see.
Do you really feel that bad about 2 years ago?
So she's still keeping up the good girl facade around Georges and Deiter. No one else knows she's actually a sadistic, cackling demon. There's nothing less trustworthy in the world than a woman who's always smiling. But if Georges thinks he's happy... Oh, what an interesting line, by the way. Nothing more untrustworthy than a woman who's always smiling. And that was how he saw... Dang, Giselle. Always smiling, always trying to put up a brave face. Because she wanted to try and make a good impression. And it absolutely made the worst impression. Dang. Oh, it's so intricate and such little tiny little details. Ah. That's freaking crazy cool. But if Georges thinks he's happy, I can't take that away from him.
Michel?
Oh, right, yes. I do feel guilty about the way I lost control of my emotions and took it out on you guys. It happens to everyone. In fact, you could stand to do a little more shouting and fussing. Then you could... Because I have undeveloped social skills. You heard that? You've got one heck of a nasty streak, huh, Dee? I'm glad to hear you're still on good terms. It wasn't my intention to pit the two of you against each other. We know. The blame falls on my shoulders. I want you to know something, Michel. Though your transformation was too much for Mother and Father to accept, with enough time, everything will go back to the way it was before, just like it did for myself and Georges. None of this is your fault. It was all unfortunate timing.
God's a little bit of a jerk, too.
Try not to forget I am a knight, Georges.
In time?
In time. Speaking of which, we don't have much left. I'm going to tell the coachman to set off, okay?
Deiter.
Yes.
Tell me the truth. Will the three of us ever meet again?
Why would you ever ask that? Of course we will.
Not a chance I'm letting this be our last family get-together.
One last question, then. Yes.
Am I your brother? Well, I mean, look at ya. Don't look much like a sister to me. So yeah, I'd say you are.
I see. So long, then. Farewell, and may good health bless you until we meet again.
Until then, Michel.
Farewell.
Wow. What good brothers. Kind of crazy, kind of blind, but Aimee's pretty good at acting. But in the end, they were good people. Before seeing me off for good, they both gave me strong, firm hugs. Deiter first, then Georges. The warmth I felt in their arms, in my family's arms, slowly spread through my chilled body, which made it that much more difficult to part ways. The wheels of the carriage rattled against the wet, stone-paved road. I stuck my head out the window, watching as they shrunk into the distance, standing there in the rain until they were completely out of view. A tightness filled my breast. Every glimmer of hope I had for my new life was matched by an equal degree of darkness and uncertainty. Would I ever make it back home? And if I did, would people still call me a demon child? Having to write Mother was another uncomfortable weight on my soul. The thought of having to play a girl for her made me sick. Georges had acted like it would be nothing. But it wasn't that easy. It was more than mere pretend. Deiter had said that with time things would change. But how could he be certain that those changes would be for the better? The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. I wonder if we're gonna get a little bit of like how he met the witch and heard her voice. The next thing I know, I'm sinking into a vast void. Darkness cuffing my hands, legs, restricting my movements.
Images of the past I'd kept buried away for so long streamed past me. This isn't how I wanted it to happen. Not coming from my own mouth, but being laid bare before all the sea without my consent. That wasn't how I wanted her to find out about my secret, about my shameful history.
I warned you, my dear. I told you you didn't want to reclaim your old self. If you had simply let it be, you wouldn't be here now, forced to relive it all. Now, do you understand? The tale I spun behind the fourth door was as much for you as it was for her. There you were, a young man with a sad fate. But you met a wonderful woman, fell in love with her, and then died in the arms of tragedy. The sequence of events is not far from the truth, but I was able to turn it into something enchanting and beautiful. I got rid of all the nasty little details. Your ugliness, your body troubles, all of that. Doesn't it seem a bit unfair, Michel? You tore down the walls around Giselle's heart, around her past, but you wanted to keep your own nice and safe and hidden away. She has every right to be upset.
The witch has got a point there. I mean, I understand. It's always one of those things where it's like, you want to help other people, but rarely do you feel like you need or should have help yourself. But man, she has a point.
You were afraid she wouldn't accept you, were you not? And that's precisely what happened. But can you honestly blame her? The truth you've kept hidden away is not something most would be able to accept. The prince who came riding in to save her
Silence!
wasn't actually a man.
Please. Enough. I've seen enough. Let it stay buried, please. Just stop this. I don't want to see it. I didn't want anything to do with it.
What a sad little creature you are, my dear. Not a woman in the world would have any interest in you now. You surrounded yourself with layer upon layer of walls, covered yourself in this patchwork barely held together, quilt of masks, and it's only thing keeping you together. You're the frailest one of all, the weakest. And it's all about time you accepted that and stopped trying to fight it.
I am not weak.
Oh, is that so? Let's proceed with the tale then, shall we? Face the one you hated most in the world, yourself. Your weakness, your ugliness. Face it and despair.
Fetch. Don't.
Again.
Once again, my own desires, my own wishes are completely irrelevant. The past sprawls out before me once more, and the witch is exactly right. I despise the man I was then, teeming with vain hope and foolish dreams. I would rather pretend the part of me never existed, but I have no choice. I'm dragged back into the life I once lived. My pleas for mercy, fading into dark nothingness. Man, what could have happened here? Couldn't remember how long it had been since the capital had disappeared into the distance. I'd been on the road for some time now. We'd long since left paved roads behind. The carriage rocked back and forth as it proceeded down the rough dirt path. For hours I stared through the windows, unfamiliar scenery flowed past. Eventually, the fog settled over an area, making it difficult to discern night from day. We made our way through the dark, dense woods. And beyond them, like a world fading into view from after a dream, a mansion appeared before us. All the windows were either shuttered or boarded, encasing the house in darkness. In a way, I felt like all I'd done was move from one prison to a much larger one. Briefly, I thought they'd possibly been sealed to keep anyone from seeing me inside, but my coming here was a very recent development. More likely, then, the house had been in this condition when it was initially purchased. Quite the piece of property my father had found himself with. I wondered if he had been swindled by his previous owner. It was a gloomy, uninviting place, but didn't appear to be in despair. The coachman left my luggage outside the door, gave me an empty farewell, then went on his way. I was entirely alone. I spent some time just staring out at the forest, but naturally there was nothing of interest to be found there. So I quietly turned around and opened the door to the mansion. Even I'm feeling cold. I keep this room like warm because I know I'd be in here. And like because I keep it shut to keep people, like mostly little ones, out. It gets cold in here just via entropy because it just like the rest of the house stays warmer, so the heat doesn't turn on as much, and so this room cools a little faster because of the window. It's certainly dark. I could barely even see my own feet. Briefly, I considered trying to unshutter a window or two, but ended up deciding against it. The less inviting the place looked, the easier it would be for me to avoid contact with the outside world, as Deiter had recommended. Standing there in the darkness for several minutes, my eyes gradually grew accustomed to the lack of light. While I was hardly ideal, it was sufficient to take a look around the house. The inside didn't seem to have received the same level of care as the outside. Everything was dusty and the air was many years stale. But I wasn't in a cleaning mood. So I dug through my luggage for a bundle of candles, lighting one with a flint. Okay, so I just had to think. So, in the witch's story, yeah, the mansion was constructed around the church, right? Like, this was the original building that she was trapped in the tower of. Like, because it was just the church at first. And then the stuff was added to it. But the stuff that was added wasn't it added at that time, so this mansion has been abandoned since the town died out, or did somebody else add to it afterwards? I can't recall. I'm pretty sure I'm right that it was all like this is effectively the house it was when Morgana died, but I'm not 100% on that. My memory is not what it was. I was focused on other details. I dug through my luggage for a bundle of candles, lighting one with a flint. Ugh. Stained glass window. Examining the large room I found myself in, I came across a stained glass window depicting an angel. The Archangel, of whom I had been named, looked solemnly down upon me. Quite the joke. 2 columns of evenly spaced pews ran the length of the room, all facing the multicolored window. I set the candlestick in the podium of some sort, which is when I realized this is a chapel. A flat length of silver, bent in the middle, was mounted on the pulpit's face. When I saw it, I knew exactly what it was used to be. A cross. The pews weren't facing the stained glass, but the cross. Why, though? I felt as though the mansion had been built up around the chapel rather than the opposite. I was perplexed as to why anyone would do that. But of course, there was no one around to state my curiosity. Taking the candlestick back in hand, I made my way beyond the pulpit. There was a small metal door. I pressed one hand against the cool surface and my heart leapt. It was abnormally cold. Although the door itself seemed perfectly normal, the inexplicable anxiety spread through me. It was a very unusual sensation. My instinct told me I should stay far, far away, if only we'd listen. And my heart told me it was my duty to see what lay beyond. What am I going to find back there? I wonder if he's going to find her. Like, was her corpse still in here? After a few moments' hesitation, I decided to act in opposition to my instincts. Not that it would matter. Like, staying away probably wouldn't have done anything. Unless he inadvertently released Morgana, but I doubt it. I mean, this is her place. This is her. I was looking at a long spiral staircase. The wooden stairs stretched so high I couldn't tell where they ended. An observation tower, perhaps? As if being pushed forward by some inhuman force, I mounted the staircase. By the 3rd or 4th loop, soft light began peeking into the tower through the regular spaced rectangular openings in the stone walls. Though one such window, I gazed out. Far off in the distance, beyond a seemingly endless ocean of trees, I saw a small village. Nowhere I'm ever gonna go. So many stairs. It's been quite some time since I had to exert myself this much. Hardly had any opportunity locked away in my chambers. With every step I took, I could hear my joints creaking and my muscles screaming. I was long since out of breath, only staying upright with the help of the wall. Ah, this is pitiful, dang it. But turning back never occurred to me. I had to keep climbing, had to make it to the top. And it was that feeling of necessity that pushed my exhausted body upward. By the time I reached the top, I was practically gasping for air. Sweat streamed down my forehead. I wiped it aside, turning my gaze toward yet another door. But unlike the first, what on earth? A tangle of rope covered the surface. Layers upon layers of it, making the intent abundantly clear. Nothing shall come in or out. It didn't look like it had been put there recently either, so much of it had rotted through. Out of curiosity, I grabbed the coil and yanked. The rope snapped in several places, chunks falling limply to the floor. It wasn't enough to allow the door to open, though. People only sealed doors like this for a reason, largely because they didn't want, or couldn't allow, others to see what hid behind them. Like what they did to me. For a few moments, I felt as though I was looking down at myself from outside my body. If it hadn't been for this man, but someone else standing there, would they have turned back at the sight of a sealed-off door, acting as though nothing was there? Or would they have done it as I did? I ground my teeth, a mixture of annoyance and bitterness rushing through me. But I did not hesitate. I held the flame of the candle up to the wall of rope, careful not to set the whole thing ablaze, slowly, carefully burning through the hem one by one. It was repetitive, time-consuming, but I persisted, wiping away sheets of sweat before it streamed into my eyes. The sun was well on its way down before I finally managed to expose the door. I took a deep breath, looked up at it, and gulped. There was something incredibly chilling about the door. And then I pushed it open. And a barely noticeable breeze brushed past me. A single ray of sunlight shone into the room, coming from a single window that sat high atop the wall. It cast a milky white patch of light on the hard floor, revealing the fact that I was not alone. The rumors say the witch lives in the mansion. There I saw, in this cursed house, a skeleton with only one arm. A cursed mansion for a cursed man. It was like I was destined to end up here. I had no way of finding out who the skeleton belonged to, so I left it there, at the top of the tower, and retreated into thought. Oh, Michel. I wondered to myself, how had the one-armed person died? How had they felt locked in that room, staring up at a sole window so far out of reach? About the only thing they would have seen was the sky and the occasional bird. Had they yearned for more light, or had they come to despise the tiny patch that trickled into their room? Had they been some sort of wicked criminal imprisoned for wrongdoing? Not all prisoners are necessarily bad people. Having been branded with a non-existent curse, I couldn't help but think that perhaps something similar had happened to whoever they were. Oddly true, but it wasn't a curse, it was a blessing. Vainly reaching out for the sun, constantly praying for rescue that would never come. What had gone through their mind as they withered away? Would anyone ever come for me? Would my brothers keep their word? Or would I, years from now, end up a pile of dry bones somewhere in this house? Unwanted and alone, robbed of all hope, with no one but darkness to talk to as it sunk its teeth deeper and deeper into me. That corpse could be me in the future. Deiter, Georges, did you really send me here to keep me hidden? Or is this to be my grave? Can I put my faith in you? Can I trust you when you say I'll be able to return? That everyone will happily accept me? That we'll all be together again? That we'll play chess, that we'll draw pictures, and nobody will be left out? All I really wanted was for people to accept me for who I was. To accept that I was a man. No, that I had grown to a reasonable man, resemble a man. That I had the heart of a man. I didn't need anything else. I didn't want to cause anyone anguish. I didn't want to hate anyone. I simply wished to be who I was. No, who I wanted to be. I didn't want to be treated like I was a stranger or different. If that was asking too much, at the very least I wanted to have one person in my life who truly understood me. Deiter, Georges, I pray that you can be that for me. Lurking quietly in the mansion's all-encompassing darkness, I waited and hoped that that day might arrive, when I could come out of hiding. However, 1, 2, 3 years later, I had still not been set free. Only my mother wrote me, and in all her letters she said the same thing. When your curse is broken, come back home, sweetheart. When your curse is broken, I want you back in my life. When your curse is broken, everything will be back to normal. I wait expectantly for the day you are free of that terrible curse. The curse would never be broken, though. What I was now was what I was meant to be. All the time I'd spent as a girl, none of that was real. Deiter had said he didn't think I was cursed. My brothers didn't think I was some hellish demon child. So no, the curse would never be broken. Because there was no curse to break. I wasn't cursed at all. There was no darn cursed. But the flow of time eroded away at me, slowly killing any confidence I had once had. Sucked me dry of all trust, for others and myself. With enough time, I started questioning my own beliefs about what I was, starting to think that perhaps I was cursed. Much like they had at the Bollinger estate, the servant who came by every month did his best to avoid making eye contact. But beyond just bringing me food, he was also checking in on me, making sure I didn't attempt to run away. And every month he probably went back and told Mother the same thing, that my curse had still not been broken. Do you have the answers I seek, O Father in heaven? If you do, I ask that you guide me, to please tell me what I am, if I truly am cursed, and perhaps you could tell me how much my soul weighs too. Probably not very much. I spent enough time alone in the dark mansion to drive anyone mad. The more time that passed, the more I grew to question myself, my worth as a human being. And whenever the self-doubt and loathing became too much to take, I trekked up to the top of the observation tower to see the light. Sitting there on the hard floor, I would place my hand on the skeleton leg, its shoulder, its hand. From the size of the bones, whoever it was appeared to have been young when their life withered away. Poor child. Even I feel blessed compared to you. Oh, how miserable it must have been locked away up in this tower. To have your arm mercilessly severed. You have my pity, though. I alone shall mourn your death. I alone shall take comfort in your presence. You poor, poor child. Normally I would attribute this to a very crazy person, but considering everything else, I honestly don't know if that's true. If he's crazy, he has good reason to be. By pretending to pity someone who had had it worse than me, I was able to feel somewhat better about myself. Because if I was in a position to pity someone else, then conversely I wasn't in a position to be pitied. Vainly, foolishly trying to convince myself of a lie. I spent hours, days alone in that tower, holding the dry bones in my arms. Now there was a sight to lend credence to all my alleged madness. Over time, the air of the mansion seemed to thicken, as if a fog were condensing. Water pushed out all the air, swallowed me up, suffocating me. A putrid mire. I was trapped at the bottom of this thick black sludge. Soon I lost all track of the passage of time, my only landmarks being the dates of Mother's letters. Before I knew it, 8 years had passed. What the heck is this? I hadn't heard my own voice in so long I'd always forgotten what it sounded like. There was a delivery that day, but it wasn't in the usual package. The servant was instead carrying a large rectangular object draped in cloth. Shoving that into my hands, he said, "The regular supplies will be here in a couple days," and then ran off. Presumably, he was afraid to spend any more time than necessary with the cursed man, but didn't bother to say anything about it. It's the painting. I knew it was a waste of breath, and I was not inclined to hold it against him if he didn't want to look me in the eye, to exchange words. All I could do reasonably do was sit back and bear it. As long as I kept my mouth shut, the man could do his job in peace. By the candlelight, I began unwrapping the package the server had delivered. From within, a sheet of parchment fell to the floor, and held inside the package was a painting. Just looking at it, I couldn't tell what it was, aside from the fact that it was a portrait of a woman. I knew those brushstrokes, though. They were very distinctly Georges's. The woman depicted had white hair. White hair. There was a flash. A fresh jolt to the pain that nearly faded away. A half-dozen needles pierced my chest. So much blood had spilled from those gouges that I had long since lost any sensation of pain, but now it was back. No, Georges, you didn't. My whole body froze. The blood in my veins came to a halt. I couldn't breathe. I was drowning in a pool of imaginary water. I crouched down to pick up the sheet of parchment. It was a letter in Mother's handwriting. The first line read as it did in all her correspondence.
My beloved daughter, Michel. Every day I pray for your curse might be broken, but lately I've come to think that perhaps the reason you remain cursed is because you've forgotten what you were supposed to be. So long as you have spent in that accursed form, it is little surprise you would lose sight of yourself. How can you return to the true self if you do not even remember what that is? So I asked Georges to paint you a picture, hoping it might help you break free of your curse. You are a beautiful young woman, my dear Michel. I presume you have already seen the painting. It's lovely, wouldn't you agree? The flowing white hair and skin like glass, those deep enchanting red eyes, those slender fingers and modest feminine frame, those soft lips. It is not you when you were younger, though. Instead, I had him imagine what you look like now. Is it that you would look like that when your curse was broken? Isn't that wonderful? Imagine it. Envision yourself, your true self. Remember who you are. Recall your true self. I wait eagerly until the day you come back to me, looking as beautiful as you do in this painting. My dear, sweet Michel, this is you. This is the real you. You are beautiful, my little girl, and I love you dearly. That awful fuss all those years ago, we could pretend that none of it ever happened. Forget all the dreadful things the curse made you. Become the girl you used to be, the girl you were meant to be, so we can once more be a happy family. I am waiting, forever waiting for you.
White-haired girl. Did the white-haired girl in the first book find this painting? I doubt it. But I feel like this painting, something about it seems like it was here before somehow. The letter ended there, leaving me with the woman in the painting staring back at me. Her eyes seemed to insist that it was not me, that she was the real me, that I was nothing more than the fraud, laughing at me, scoffing at me for ever thinking I was anything but female, mocking me for stubbornly insisting I wanted to be a man. The pain in my chest swelled, breaking from my mouth in gusts and moans. And then, Gah! I screamed from the bottom of my lungs. Why? I yanked at my hair. Why, Georges? Slamming the painting against the floor. You said I could believe in you. You swore the god of art. So why? Why would you do this to me? You said yourself that you didn't think I was cursed. You acknowledged me as your brother. You knew it wasn't me, so why? Why would you make this? I've been waiting for so long. I put my trust in you and Deiter. I trusted you. I believed you would always support me. Was that all a lie? Deep down, you really think I'm cursed just like Mother. And that's why you haven't written me? Why you haven't answered any of my letters? Where did my faith get me? Why did you even help me escape? Was it all for show? Was my execution just a lie, an excuse for you to send me somewhere far away? Well, was it? Tell me, Georges. Tell me the truth. What about you, Deiter? Where do you stand? No, this isn't real. My voice was getting hoarse. I didn't have the strength to hold it in, and everything came spilling out of me, squeezed out by the phantom water. And the white-haired girl in the painting just stared back at me, smiling. I bit down on my lip as hard as I could. A metallic taste spreading through my mouth, drops of blood trickling to the floor. Pulling the knife I used to open my monthly deliveries from my waistband, I lifted it high in the air, gathered what remained of my strength. "This isn't me!" and slashed the woman's face with it. "This isn't me, this isn't me, I am not this woman. I am a man," carved into it. "This is not how I look," with everything I had. Don't try to erase who I really am. Don't call me repulsive, don't say I'm an abomination." I tore into the smile, contempt surging from every slash. This woman isn't real. I wanted to curse the whole darn world. Every last thing this wretched mire had become in my life. My brothers were happily going through their lives as I suffered here in the darkness. My delusional mother for refusing to acknowledge who I was. My father for trying to have me killed. Aimee for making me realize that I was a man, and then for torturing me for coming out about it. Everyone. I didn't care anymore. I wanted everyone who had ever wronged me to suffer the same way I had.
"I can make that happen."
A voice rang out.
"I can curse them for you, my dear."
It was a woman's voice, muffled like there were several walls between me and her. "Who's there?" I swiped up the candlestick, thrusting it forward to the sides and behind me. But there was no one else around.
"Give it a little thought. It's not that difficult. And when you figure it out, come to me. I have been waiting for so long for someone like you. Someone with such hatred for the world."
"How am I supposed to know who you are?"
"How could you not, my dear? You visited me so many times. Held me in your arms, whispered 'poor child' in my ear again and again."
"What? No, that's not possible." "Ah, I see. I finally truly lost my mind."
"If that's what you choose to believe, that's your choice. But the way I see it, if you had truly lost your mind, you wouldn't be in so much pain."
The voice, still muffled and unclear, seemed to be coming from somewhere far away, but very close by the same time.
"Find your way to me and open the door once more. Let me out of my cage."
So she was trapped, huh? Fetch! Dang it, he let her out!
"Give me your hand."
I knew in the back of my mind it was all absurd, but nonetheless I did say it as the voice said. I let myself be drawn in by the pleasant whispers. The archangel stood proudly upon the glass perch, looking down on me. His gaze almost seemed judgmental, but I marched to the tower unconcerned.
"For so long I have been waiting for the day I would be rid of this darkness, for the day someone would truly set me free. When you arrived at this house, I felt the hands of fate at work, that you were led here, that you were meant to come to this place. You've been through so much to get here. I know your pain. I know how it feels to be locked up, to be tortured and used for others' gain. You were the only one to ever have pity for me, and I shall be the only one to have compassion for you. You were the only one to stay at my side, and I shall do the same for you. You can give me life again. You can resurrect me."
Fetch.
"Now, open the door, Michel."
I felt like I was no longer in control of my own body. Her voice was tender in a way unlike either mother's or Aimee's. Enticingly so. Standing at the top of the observation tower, I pushed open the door. And the first thing I saw was a ray of light shining through the window. And nothing else.
"Thank you for opening the door."
It was empty. The skeleton, which had been sitting there as long as I had been there in the house, had vanished without a trace. I spun around, my gaze darting back and forth across the chamber, but there was no one there. Only her voice whispering in my ear.
"You made this possible. You gave me the chance to have my revenge.
Revenge.
Now I can make those men who suffer a hell worse than the one they put me through. Constant, everlasting despair. Their flesh may turn to dust, but so long as their souls live on, their torture will know no end."
The tenderness in her voice crumbled away, leaving only raw loathing behind. She then let out a half-muffled cackle. Who are you?
Oh, you poor dear. They locked you up in here without telling you whose house this is. You said, you sad, pathetic thing. Though that's exactly the kind of person I needed. You're
not the witch, are you?
That I am. I am the cursed witch who loathes this puny, wretched world with curses in it. And my name is Morgana.
Morgana. I assumed the witch was nothing but a legend, a tale.
If you don't believe me, I would be happy to show you. Let's see. I could place a curse on someone you have a grudge against. Drag them down into the dark abyss. You are the one who granted me freedom, after all. Sympathized with me, pitied me, appreciated me.
Aimee. Aimee gets cursed, doesn't she? Aimee is the one that was trapped in the building. I bet you everything. She was the one in the Jacopo story. His childhood friend. The one who had carved into the floor like, this isn't you. That was Aimee, wasn't it? I bet you it was.
You happily embraced my filthy corpse. And for that, I will grant you your wish. Wishes can come true, Michel. Much the same way I am able to come back to life. If you remain steadfast in your desires, they will become reality. For devotion and yearning are the fountain from which miracles spring. I cannot leave the mansion's grounds, but that is but a minor inconvenience. Tell me who you wish to curse, and I can lead them here. I can force the cross you were made to bear onto them. Believe in my power to perform miracles, because you made my miracle a reality. So tell me, my dear, who will be first? Your second brother, who made that ridiculous painting?
Georges.
Shall we kill him? He deserves at least that. He brought you more than enough pain.
The guy trapped in the painting! Georges! Oh, because what a fate would be fit for him to be stuck in the very thing that consumed his entire world.
But if you rather, you could curse your mother instead, or the woman that set you on this path. Or perhaps you prefer your father. With him gone, you could return home. Ask, and I will perform a miracle for you.
I didn't think she was lying either. As ridiculous as the whole affair sounded, the skeleton had disappeared from the tower, and I was hearing a disembodied voice. But beyond that, the voice seemed to have a sort of magnetism to it. If magic truly did exist in this world, then her words were laced with it. There was power in her voice, something that repelled the any instinct I might have had to doubt the thing she said. So I, on the verge of losing grasp on the reason altogether, believed every word the witch said. I wanted to curse them. To curse my brothers, mother, father, Aimee, and the witch was saying I could do precisely that.
What will it be, my dear? There is no price. I don't require a sacrifice or a dark ritual to perform my magic. I simply wish to show my gratitude. I want you to have that which you desire. Who do you want to curse?
The witch's sweet whispering sounded in the air for a brief moment before whispering away. All the muscle in my body tensed up. I felt woozy, like the floor was wobbling beneath me. It took everything I had not to fall over. Who did I want to curse?
Oh, and you are welcome to choose more than one. All of them, even.
I could curse them all, and the witch would kill my family. I would be free. No one would know I was born female.
Why don't you become the new head of the estate?
Who would I curse? Who would I kill? Deiter, Georges, mother, father, Aimee, all of them? They had exiled me to this place.
Have your revenge.
A black butterfly floated across the room's single shaft of light. As I stared absently at it, dozens of memories of emotions flashed through my mind.
But at the end of the day, we're family. We can get past anything.
With enough time. Everything will go back to the way it was before. Just like it did for myself and Georges.
I don't understand. Why would I think about them now?
They've abandoned me. Left me in that room for 2 years and then left me here for 8 more. They don't care whether I'm alive or dead. So why should I? Why should I? Excuse me.
Have you made up your mind?
I have.
Then tell me, my dear, who will it be? Who will you curse?
No one. I cannot curse anyone, Morgana.
Surely you jest. I noticed how much you wish to see them dead. I felt all your hatred, your despair. And you meant to tell me you can't curse them?
It just struck me now that I can't do that to my family. I cannot curse my own family. Excuse me. Sneeze. I hate it when it takes a while to... It just sits there, and now I'm not gonna do it.
This is the family that cast you aside, labeled you cursed, made you suffer for years, and then locked you away in this remote mansion. And they don't feel even the slightest bit remorseful about any of it.
I understand that. I know that they don't give me the same weight. That I don't give the same weight to their words as I do. I figured that out long ago. I know I'm alone in my prayer, and I don't want to see, and I don't want the same thing as I do. That I trust them more than they ever deserved.
So why then can you not curse them?
Because I don't want to hate them. I don't want to bring them suffering. On the contrary, I want them to be happy.
You have no place in that happiness, though. Is it happiness that rests upon your misfortune? Why then should you not drag them down so you can find respite for yourself?
I would find no respite by cursing them.
How can you be so sure of that, my dear? I most certainly found a great deal of it myself. You're trying to follow your conscience, I can see that. But that good is superficial, and all it does is shackle you down. Remove the shackles, and everything will be so much easier.
Nothing you say can convince me to kill my family.
Why not someone who isn't family, then? Surely you can think of at least one person you would like to see dead.
Oh, I most certainly can. I could kill her 12 times and it wouldn't be enough. But just because I would be happy for her death doesn't mean that there aren't people who would be sad to lose her. Remove any one person from that group and the whole thing could come crashing down, all because I couldn't restrain my own hatred.
Your concern for them will devour you.
Don't think I'm not aware of that.
You aren't. You don't know that at all. The only reason you've given them any consideration is because, deep down, you still have hope. But hope has a way of forsaking those who give it a home. You have a problem and you need to take care of it before it kills you. You and I, we were cut from the same cloth. While you may still care for your family now, in time you will come to curse them. Consider that a warning, Michel. Your hatred, your curse, is what brought me back to life. Is there no getting around that? We do have plenty of time, though. No need to rush to a decision. I'll show you what it is you truly desire, deep, deep down. And I'll show you again and again, until you finally acknowledge it.
The black butterfly hovering by the window disappeared, and the witch's voice grew distant, overwhelmed. I collapsed to the floor unconscious. Had I really said what I did out of love for my family? Or was I just afraid of crossing that line? Was Morgana right? Was my heart now home to a terrible monster? If I actually had resurrected the witch with my hatred, maybe that was what I was now. Darkness seeped down over me once more. I was again encased in a pool of despair. Slowly, ever slowly, it wore away on me, eroding me into nothing. If I didn't come up for air, I soon would take the witch's offer. Cracking like a demon, I would place a curse on someone, I would kill them. Reviving her was a mistake I never should have made. And not for the greater good or anything so noble. No, every time she spoke, a little more of my spirit died. Fetch. And that's a good place for us to stop. And that's the beginning of the end, the beginning of his fall. But he withstood for a long time. He did decent. He was a good man, through and through. Still is. Hopefully he can help Giselle see that in the end. But we're gonna stop here for now. Man. I bet you Georges did it, made the painting because he thought it was gonna be for her. Probably didn't realize it was gonna be sent to Michel. But man, that sucks. What a terrible, terrible fate. And how believable, man. How many people who are transgender, both biologically and like psychologically, or anyway, that they all matter the same. But how many of them are considered abominations by their family, whose parents will not refuse to accept the new reality, you know? That's tough. That's so tough. I don't envy anybody that has to go through that. I wish you all the best if you do, and I hope you have the courage to stand up for who you are and what you are. But I'm tired, and this story is pulling on my soul. I need a break. Christmas is around the corner, man. This is sucking it all out of me, so I need to go and listen to some Christmas music or something. But anyway, I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. For those of you celebrating Christmas, whether it be the religious version or just the fun version, I hope you have a great holiday and a happy new year for everybody. And, you know, in whatever respective holidays you're celebrating, thankfully this is the time of year most people find some type of enjoyment and activity. So I hope you have a great time. I hope you enjoy it. But until the next video you watch me, hope to see me next. I'll see you there.